First contact folly. Captain Vexlar stood on the command bridge of the Eternal Seeker, his four-fingered hands clasped behind his back as he studied the holographic display of the newly discovered solar system. His iridescent scales shimmered under the soft blue lighting, and his vertical pupils narrowed with interest. "Preliminary scans complete, Captain," announced Science Officer Mira. Her tentacled appendages danced across the control panel with practiced precision. "Third planet shows promising resource deposits, abundant water, diverse minerals, and rich organic compounds." "Life signs?" Vexlar asked, already knowing the answer. The Galactic Consortium's expansion protocol was clear. Identify resource-rich worlds, evaluate indigenous life, and determine the most efficient acquisition method. "Abundant," Mira confirmed. "Primarily a bipedal species calling themselves humans. They've achieved rudimentary spaceflight, basic digital technology, and limited exploration of their neighboring planets. According to our classification system, they're a Class 3 civilization, pre-FTL." Vexlar's mouth tentacles twitched in what passed for a smile among the Vexari. Class 3 civilizations were ideal for consortium expansion. Advanced enough to understand the concept of surrender, yet primitive enough to recognize the futility of resistance. "Deploy the reconnaissance team," he ordered. "Standard protocol. Remote location, minimal population. I want a thorough assessment of their technological capabilities and societal structure." First Officer Carax nodded. "Team Epsilon is preparing now, Captain. 6 of our most experienced operatives. They'll establish a hidden observation post and report back within 1 standard rotation." Vexlar watched on the main screen as the small stealth craft detached from the Eternal Seeker and descended toward the blue-green planet. The ship's advanced cloaking technology rendered it invisible to primitive radar systems. The mission would be routine, just another step in the consortium's relentless expansion. "Maintain high orbit and passage scans only," Vexlar instructed. "I don't want the humans detecting our presence until we're ready to make formal contact." 12 hours passed with no communication from Team Epsilon. Vexlar paced the bridge, his scales darkening with concern, a physiological response he couldn't control. "Still no signal, Captain," Communications Officer Zell reported. "Last telemetry showed successful landing at the designated coordinates in an area the humans call Montana. Vital signs were normal. Then the signal terminated." "Equipment malfunction," Vexlar suggested, though he didn't believe it himself. Consortium technology didn't simply malfunction. "Unlikely," Mira replied. All systems were functioning at optimal capacity. Vexlar made a quick decision. "Prepare Team Delta for immediate deployment. Full combat protocols. Find Epsilon and determine what happened." Team Delta, 20 elite consortium soldiers armed with energy weapons and equipped with advanced defensive shields, departed within the hour. Their commander, Major Thex, was a veteran of 17 planetary acquisitions. "Landing successful," Thex reported. "We've located Epsilon's craft. The vessel appears intact, but, Captain, it's been breached. Primitive tools were used to open the hull." Vexlar felt a cold sensation spread through his body. "The team. No sign of them. We're tracking multiple footprints leading into the nearby forest. Human tracks, along with drag marks. They took our people, Captain." "Proceed with caution," Vexlar ordered. "Recovery is your primary objective." For 20 tense minutes, the bridge crew listened to Team Delta's progress through the dense forest. Then came sounds Vexlar had never heard during a standard reconnaissance mission. Energy weapons fire, explosions, and the unmistakable screams of dying consortium soldiers. "We're under attack," Vex shouted over the comm. "The humans. They were waiting. They've—" His voice cut off in a gurgle. "Major Thex, report," Vexlar demanded. Static was his only answer. "Activate Delta's field recorders," Vexlar ordered. "I need to see what happened. The images that appeared on the main screen stunned everyone on the bridge. The humans had set an elaborate trap for Team Delta. Most shocking was their coordination and their weapons, a mix of primitive projectile firearms and modified consortium energy weapons. Impossible, Mira whispered. They couldn't have learned to use our technology so quickly. Yet the evidence was undeniable. Vexlar watched as a human female, wearing what appeared to be simple civilian clothing, expertly wielded a consortium plasma rifle, taking down 3 soldiers before they could react. Another human had somehow reconfigured a communication device into a disruptive field generator that disabled their shields. "Captain," Zell interrupted, "I'm detecting increased communication signals across the planet. The humans are sharing information about us." For the first time in his distinguished career, Captain Vexlar felt genuine fear. These humans didn't behave like any species the consortium had encountered before. They didn't flee in terror or surrender in awe of superior technology. They'd fought. They adapted. They learned at an alarming rate. "Maintain orbit," he ordered, his voice steady despite his growing dread. "Send an emergency communication to Consortium Command. Request immediate reinforcements." As the message was transmitted, Vexlar continued studying the recordings, analyzing the humans' tactics. The consortium's standard acquisition protocols assumed predictable responses from primitive species, either immediate surrender or disorganized resistance. These humans defied those expectations entirely. 3 days later, the response arrived. Admiral Zexor, Vexlar's direct superior, appeared on the communication screen. "Captain Vexlar," the admiral began, his tone cold, "your report is concerning. The Council has never received such a request during a Class 3 acquisition." "Admiral, these humans are different," Vexlar explained. "Their adaptability exceeds anything in our records." "Save your excuses," Zexor interrupted. "Battle Group 7 is being dispatched to your location. 5 warships, 2,000 troops. This situation will be resolved quickly." Vexlar bowed his head. "Thank you, Admiral." "Do not thank me, Captain," Zexor warned. "You retain command of this operation. For now. But failure is not an option. The humans must be subjugated within 15 planetary rotations of Battle Group 7's arrival." The screen went dark, leaving Vexlar with the unmistakable understanding that his career, perhaps his life, depended on success. Battle Group 7 arrived 6 days later, emerging from hyperspace in perfect formation. Admiral Kairos, commander of the battle group, wasted no time. "Captain Vexlar, my orders are to follow your strategy," he said. "What is your plan to subjugate this world?" Vexlar pointed to the holographic display of Earth. "The humans are divided into nation-states with no unified government or military. We will target their 7 largest population centers simultaneously. A show of force, no actual destruction necessary. When they see our capabilities, they will surrender." Admiral Kairos nodded. "Simple and effective. We begin in 6 hours." The plan was put into motion. 6 consortium warships positioned themselves above Earth's major cities: New York, Beijing, London, Moscow, Tokyo, New Delhi, and Sao Paulo. The Eternal Seeker remained in high orbit, coordinating the operation. "All ships in position," Zell reported. "Cloaking disengage. The humans can now see us." Vexlar watched on the main screen as the massive ships revealed themselves above each city. "Let them panic for 1 hour," he ordered. "Then we broadcast our terms." But the humans didn't panic, at least not in the way Vexlar expected. Instead of chaos in the streets, the humans organized with startling speed. "Captain," Mira called out, detecting numerous aircraft approaching our vessels. "Military fighters." Vexlar smiled. "Let them come. Their primitive jets pose no threat to consortium warships." The human fighters approached cautiously, keeping their distance at first. Then they launched their weapons, missiles that emitted a strange energy signature. "What is that?" Vexlar asked, leaning forward. The missiles struck the shields of the consortium warships and passed through. Several hit the hull of the warship over Beijing. "Shield breach," came the panicked report. "Lower decks damage." "How did they penetrate our shields?" Vexlar demanded. Mira analyzed the energy signatures. "Those are our weapons, Captain. They've modified their missiles with our technology." Additional alarms sounded as more ships reported damage. The humans had somehow adapted the technology from the lost teams and created weapons that could breach consortium shields. "Return fire," Admiral Kairos ordered. "Destroy those fighters." The warships began firing their energy weapons, easily destroying the human aircraft. But for every fighter shot down, 3 more appeared. And now ground-based weapons were firing too, also modified with alien technology. "The New York ship is reporting critical damage," Zell announced. "Their main power core is hit." Vexlar watched in horror as the massive warship began to list, smoke pouring from multiple breaches in its hull. The unthinkable was happening. A consortium warship was going down. "Order them to make an emergency hyperspace jump," Kairos demanded. "They can't," Mira replied. "Power core damage too severe." They watched as the crew abandoned ship in escape pods. The great warship, pride of the consortium fleet, descended slowly at first, then faster, crashing into the ocean just off the coast of the human city. "Retreat," Kairos ordered, his voice hollow. All ships returned to high orbit immediately. As the remaining ships pulled back, Vexlar received an unexpected message. Somehow, the humans had hacked into their communication systems. "Attention alien vessels," a human voice said in perfect consortium language. "This is General Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. Your technology is now ours. Leave our world or be destroyed." Admiral Kairos cut the transmission. "How are they speaking our language? How have they adapted so quickly?" Vexlar had no answer. Human special forces had clearly captured more than just weapons. They had communication devices, shield technology, and who knew what else. And they were reverse engineering everything with terrifying speed. As night fell over the Eternal Seeker, Vexlar composed a new message to Consortium Command. This time, there was no way to downplay what had happened. A Consortium warship lost, shields breached, humans speaking their language and using their own technology against them. "We need more ships," he wrote, knowing the admission of failure would likely mean his execution. Many more. The reckoning. The great powers of Earth, which had spent centuries fighting each other, found a common enemy in the alien invaders. In emergency sessions held in secure bunkers around the world, leaders who once refused to speak to each other now work together against extinction. "We must share everything we've learned from the captured alien technology," said the American president during the first Global Defense Summit. Leaders from China, Russia, India, and 40 other nations nodded in agreement. Within days, a unified command structure emerged. Scientists from rival nations worked side by side, examining the wreckage of the downed consortium warship and the equipment salvaged from the alien landing parties. Captain Vexlar received increasingly disturbing reports. "The humans have established research centers on every continent," Mira told him, reviewing intelligence gathered by their remaining stealth drones. "They are dismantling our technology piece by piece. How quickly can they understand it?" Vexlar asked nervously. "Our technology is thousands of years beyond theirs." Mira's expression was grave. "They've already replicated our communication systems, and they're making progress on weapons and propulsion technology." Admiral Kairos joined their conversation, his face ashen. "Command is displeased, very displeased. They've ordered us to maintain position while they prepare a full invasion fleet." "How long?" Vexlar asked. 40 days at minimum." Vexlar stared at the blue-green planet on the view screen. "The humans will be much stronger by then." 3 weeks passed. The consortium ships maintained a defensive formation in high orbit, occasionally shooting down human spacecraft that ventured too close. But these attacks were becoming less frequent as Earth's forces gathered strength. Mira burst onto the bridge during Vexlar's rest period. Captain, multiple launches detected from the planet's surface. Vexlar rushed to his station. Show me. The main screen displayed dozens, no, hundreds, of small craft rising from Earth's atmosphere. They weren't the primitive rockets or jets they had seen before. These vessels moved with the smooth acceleration of consortium drives. Impossible, Admiral Kairos whispered from the communication screen. They've built ships using our technology. All vessels, battle stations, Vexlar ordered. Prepare defensive formation. The human fleet approached rapidly, led by larger vessels that appeared to be a hybrid of human and consortium design. Their hulls bore the markings of Earth's newly united military forces, a blue planet superimposed on a field of stars. They're hailing us, Zell reported. The screen changed to show a human female in a military uniform. Her insignia identify her as Admiral Chen. Consortium vessels, she began, speaking flawless Galactic standard. This is Admiral Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. Your presence in our system is unwelcome. You will leave immediately or be destroyed. Admiral Kairos cut into the transmission. This is ridiculous. You primitives have stolen our technology, but you cannot hope to defeat the might of the consortium. Surrender now, and your deaths will be quick. Admiral Chen smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. We were hoping you'd say that. The transmission ended. Immediately, the human fleet accelerated, breaking into smaller attack groups. They're using our own attack patterns, Kairos said in disbelief. The battle began. While the consortium ships were still larger and more powerful, the human vessels were numerous and surprisingly effective. They had clearly studied the aliens' tactics and developed counters. How do they know where to hit us? Vexlar demanded. Mira checked her scanners. The consortium ship that crashed. They must have recovered the tactical databases. Another warship, the one positioned over Moscow earlier, exploded as 3 human vessels concentrated fire on its main reactor. This is impossible, Admiral Kairos shouted over the communication link. These are savages. How can they? His transmission cut off as his flagship took a direct hit to its bridge. Consortium crews, accustomed to easy victories, panicked as systems failed and hulls breached. Admiral Chen's flagship is approaching our position with 4 escort vessels, Mira reported. Vexlar felt cold fear grip his insides. The Eternal Seeker was a scout ship, not a warship. Its weapons and defenses were minimal compared to the fleet vessels. Evasive maneuvers, he ordered. Get us away from here. The helmsman tried to comply, but the human ships had already surrounded them. Captain Vexlar. Admiral Chen's voice came over the communication system again. Your ship is surrounded. Your fleet is in disarray. Surrender. Vexlar looked at his crew, saw the fear in their eyes. This was not how acquisition missions were supposed to go. The primitives were supposed to be awed by their technology, not using it against them. Never, he replied. The attack came from all sides at once. The human ships fired weapons that the Eternal Seeker's sensors didn't even recognize, hybrid technologies that combined consortium principles with human innovations. Shield failure, Mira shouted as the ship rocked violently. Engine core damage, another officer reported. Power failing on all decks. Vexlar grabbed the edge of his command chair as another blast hit the ship. Warning alarms blared throughout the vessel as systems shut down one by one. Get to the emergency shuttle, he ordered his bridge crew. Abandon ship. They rushed through smoky corridors, passing injured crew members and damaged systems. The emergency shuttle bay was on the lower deck, designed for just such a catastrophic failure. Vexlar made sure his remaining officers boarded first. Mira hesitated at the shuttle entrance. Captain, what about the rest of the crew? Vexlar looked back at the burning corridor. There's no time. We have to report back to command. The shuttle launched just as another explosion rocked the Eternal Seeker. Through the viewport, Vexlar watched his ship break apart, pieces scattering into Earth's orbit. The small emergency shuttle accelerated away from the battle, its stealth systems the only thing preventing immediate detection by the human fleet. "Setting course for the hyperspace jump point," the pilot said, his voice hollow. As they fled, Vexlar witnessed the rest of the battle on the shuttle's small view screen. The remaining consortium ships were either destroyed or retreating in disarray. The human fleet moved with surprising coordination, cutting off escape routes and focusing fire on the largest remaining threats. Then came the transmission from Consortium Command. The stern face of Admiral Zexor appeared on screen. "Full retreat. All vessels return to Base Station Theta immediately," he ordered. "This operation is terminated." His eyes found Vexlar on the screen. "Captain Vexlar, you will report directly to the High Council upon your return. Your failure will be addressed." The transmission ended. "It wasn't your fault, Captain," Mira said quietly. "No one could have predicted." "It was my responsibility," Vexlar interrupted. "And now I will face the consequences." As the shuttle limped away from Earth, preparing for the long journey back to Consortium space, Vexlar stared at the blue planet growing smaller in the viewport. These humans had done the impossible, united their divided world, mastered alien technology in weeks instead of centuries, and defeated a superior force through adaptation and determination. He realized with a chill that he was facing something no one in the consortium had encountered before, a species that thrived under pressure, a species that, when backed into a corner, became more dangerous, not less. And now they had consortium technology and a reason to hate. "Rise, Captain Vexlar," intoned the lead council member, Arbitrator Gazelle. His ancient face was impassive, but his eyes burned with barely controlled fury. Vexlar stood in the center of the Grand Council chamber, his once proud uniform now stripped of rank and insignia. 4 weeks had passed since his emergency shuttle had limped back to Base Station Theta. 4 weeks of interrogation, accusations, and growing dread. The charges were clear: failure to properly assess a target world, loss of consortium assets, and retreat without proper authorization. Any one of these charges could result in execution. Together, they guaranteed it. "You stand accused of the greatest military disaster in 3 centuries of consortium expansion," Cell continued. 5 warships lost, over 2,000 personnel dead or captured, priceless technology now in the hands of primitives. How do you plead? Vexlar raised his head, guilty of underestimating the humans, not guilty of negligence. Murmurs rippled through the council chamber. "Explain," Cell demanded. "During my confinement, I was granted access to research human history," Vexlar began. "What I discovered challenges everything we thought we knew about species development." He activated a small data projector, displaying images of human warfare throughout the centuries. "The humans are unique among all species the consortium has encountered. They are the only known species to have fought wars among themselves before achieving space travel." The council members shifted uncomfortably. "Other species unified their planets before developing advanced technology," Vexlar continued. "Humans created nuclear weapons while still divided into hostile nations. Their entire technological development has been driven by warfare and competition." He switched to new images, the hybrid ships that had destroyed his fleet. "When we arrived, we gave them a common enemy. They united against us with unprecedented speed, and their ability to reverse engineer our technology." "Enough," Cell interrupted. "These observations do not excuse your failure." "They explain it," Vexlar countered. "And they should serve as a warning. If the consortium attempts another invasion of Earth, the result will be the same, only the losses will be greater." "You suggest we simply abandon a resource-rich world?" Another council member asked incredulously. "I suggest we recognize an existential threat when we encounter one," Vexlar replied. "The humans now possess our technology. They know we exist, and they know we attempted to conquer them." He looked each council member in the eye. "Mark my words, they won't remain confined to their planet for long, and when they venture into space, they will remember us." Silence filled the chamber. "Your warning is noted," Zell finally said. But it does not change your sentence. Captain Vexlar, for your failures, you are condemned to. An aide rushed into the chamber, interrupting the proceeding. He whispered urgently to Zell, whose eyes widened in shock. This council is temporarily adjourned, Zell announced abruptly. Vexlar was returned to his cell, confused by the sudden interruption. 3 hours later, he was brought back before the council, but the atmosphere had changed dramatically. Captain Vexlar, Zell began, his voice now subdued. We have received a transmission. From Earth. Vexlar felt a chill run down his spine. Impossible. They don't have our long-range communication coordinates. They found them in your ship's database, Zell said grimly. The transmission was sent using a modified version of our quantum entanglement communicator. He activated the central display, and the image of Admiral Chen appeared. Greetings, Consortium Council, she began, speaking perfect Galactic standard. I trust Captain Vexlar has returned safely to deliver our message. If not, allow me to be clear. Earth is now aware of the wider galactic community, thanks to your unprovoked attack. We have studied your technology, your language, and your tactics. We know about the Consortium and its history of conquest. She leaned forward. We have no interest in conquest ourselves. We simply wish to be left alone. But know this, if the Consortium or any other power violates Earth space again, our response will be swift and absolute. We now possess the means to travel between stars. We have enhanced your weapons and shield designs. We have decoded your star charts. Admiral Chen's expression hardened. Consider this a single warning. Earth is off limits. Spread the word. The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. Vexlar looked at the council members. Now do you understand? In less than 2 months, they've mastered technology that took us centuries to develop. Imagine what they'll achieve in a year, or 10. Zell's shoulders slumped. The council will need to reconsider its position. He looked at Vexlar with new respect. Your execution is suspended. Instead, you will serve the Consortium by preparing a comprehensive report on the humans, their strengths, their potential weaknesses, everything you've learned. And what of Earth? Vexlar asked. For now, Zell said quietly, we will heed their warning. Earth is off limits.